Today I'm going to be doing the crown using the spoil board here that I made specifically for the Kapex. So I have the crown stops in position, but they need to be moved out of the way. So I'm just going to turn on my laser so that I have an idea of where the center is going to be. I marked the spoil board with a center line. What I'll have to do is loosen up these tabs on the bottom so that I can slide that piece over, and that'll allow me to position my spoil board. So I'm going to put it right between the lasers. This doesn't have to be perfectly centered, but it helps a little bit. I'm going to lock that in position so it doesn't move up against my fence. Now I'm going to slide these pieces and lock this in place with clamps. So let's get a little bit closer so you can see. Okay, so I have this locked in place. My laser is centered. So now I had these loosened up. I can move these over just like that. And while I'm holding that against the bracket, I can tighten up the bottom knobs. And what I'm doing is I'm locking it in place. I'm going to wind up sliding this forward in a little bit, but right now I need my positioning to be perfect. Two tabs underneath, slide it against it, and lock those knobs in place. Now that I have those knobs in place, I know that this is going to be centered when I take it off and put it back on. So I'm going to use this clamp here, and now I can slide this back just like this. Now I need to get a piece of crown and get my positioning for the nested position here so that I know the distance to clamp this down on so that the crown molding will be perfect every single time. Now, if you're wondering why this is curved and all this material is removed out of here, that's so that I can still see my scale underneath from when I rotate 45 degrees, 90 degrees, 22 and a half. So I have my piece of crown, and I'm going to put it in there. It's upside down because you want to cut it in a nested position. You have to cut the crown upside down. So what I'm going to do is get it locked in place right now. So the way I'm going to do that is make sure that my crown is positioned perfectly flat against the fence and against the base of the miter saw. Once I have that perfectly positioned there, and I'm going to check this side here, perfectly positioned right there, holding it in place, I'm going to slide the spoil board just like that, and that's going to hold it right there at the perfect angle. And so now what I want to do is take a clamp, I'm going to lock this right to the bottom. Okay, that's not going anywhere on that side. Now I'm going to do the same on this side. I'll make sure that I'm still in perfect position. Okay, and now just take this so that it stays level, just like that. Same on that side. Now I can remove my crown, and I'm going to set the position on the Kapex to the special cutting position where it gives me extra depth, and that's just to cut the reliefs in a spoil board. So the first cut's going to be at 90, then I'm going to do 45 on each side. All right, ready to cut. Well, now we have our crown. I just made a simple cut list here for the corner. It's very hard to see. The light's kind of drowning it out. But the way I do it is I have a butt cut in the corner, 128 millimeters to an outside 45. Then I need the return going back to the wall around the pilaster for an outside cut, 52 millimeters to another butt cut. So I'm going to mark those off, and we're going to make the cuts. Let's position the crown here, this side here. This is going to the right side of the wall. This is butt cut to the wall. Now I have to measure out 128 millimeters. It's easy to mark a piece of crown when you have a butt cut because you're able to rest it right there in the position where you need to at the edge of the board. So let's mark out 128. Trying to mark it a little bit harder than normal because it is hard to see. And now I'm going to just put a little reference mark going this way. So my cut needs to be at a 45 right there. But I'm not going to just start it right out at a 45 like that. What I'm going to do is position it here at 90, bring it to my mark, and I'm going to bring it right to my laser. I want that to be right on that side right there. That's going to cut on the same axes of where I want that to hit. 45 right there. You can see that now my laser is actually right on the mark where I want to cut. It may be hard to see, but that is right on my mark. Right, the next cut, once again, a butt cut back to the wall. Now this is 52 millimeters to an outside 45. And this is going to be an outside 45. So now, because the lasers are so good on this, I can actually bring this to my mark. Now turning the heel like this. So you can see the perfect connection here, which we're going to pre-glue with CA glue in a second. But you can see that is an absolute perfect crown molding miter joint right there. So once we pre-glue this together, we're going to slip it right over the pilaster. The best way to pre-assemble these is with CA glue. So what I like to do is take a little accelerator, spray the inside of one piece, and then take some CA glue. I try not to go overboard with this stuff because if you make it too thick on the piece, the connection will kind of separate and not come together perfectly. You got to move quick with this when you have the accelerator. And just put it together just like this. Hold it there for a couple of seconds. And you can see that is absolute perfection right there. Now, we'll just go put this right into the corner and nail it off. This takes about 30 seconds to fully cure. Okay, so now I have the pre-assembled crown, and you guys know that the lighting in here is not so great, so there's going to be a lot of shadows. But we're going to get to these pilasters right here, and we're going to do the whole thing like that. It's going to go around the hole in the pilaster in a U shape, so it'll be a little bit easier to see. So right now we're doing the corner one, and you can see the pre-assembly. We just pop it right into place just like that. Nail it off. That's it. Now we take our measurements for this. We make a pre-assembled U-shaped crown. We slip it right over, and then we just move all the way down the line. So now I've taken all the measurements for the rest of my pilasters, which are pretty much all the same, within 1 or 2 millimeters, and that's only because of variations of the walls. So that's why you should always make sure you measure, even though you built them and everything is the same. You never know, a variation in the wall may throw it off. So I'll just continue to make my outside corners and my butt cuts and pre-assemble. Make sure you have everything situated in the right orientation. Spray some activator. Now, something to keep in mind, I'm using perfect 45-degree outside corners here only because I know everything is perfectly square and I'm pre-assembling the crown. If you're doing this on a ceiling or any other type of outside or inside corner, you need to measure your angles because they're not always going to be 45, so you're going to need an angle gauge. And now you can see for situations like this how great this pre-assembly method is, and using that spoil board I got the perfect angles on these cuts and everything is just a perfect tight joint and it looks flawless. Since everything's pre-cut and pre-assembled, I can just keep moving down the line and nailing everything off and capping off these pilasters. Okay, so you can see here we have the top pieces scribed in the center, and all the crown is pre-assembled and installed on each one of the pilasters. And the one in the corner I can't do yet because I have to still scribe that end piece, but I'm working on a column there for the end that's going to separate the wool. Kind of like what's going on here where we have a separation from this side, right where the crown is going to come around this. Now I'm going to end it over there, return it back to the wool, and you can see how this looks like a totally different color and everything because the LED light is hitting straight on it. Okay guys, so I tried to make this a quick video just to show you how to pre-assemble the crown, how to cut it in the nested position with a spoil board. You can still make a spoil board just like this for your particular miter saw. You don't have to have the Kapex. You can do it on any saw that you have, DeWalt, Bosch. It'll work on anything. Just make sure that you know the sizes that you would need to make this work. It has to be wider than the fence, the back fence itself, so that you can trap the crown in that nested position, especially when you're working on longer runs of the crown. So this way it has something to support it. And then you just find a way to clamp it into your existing miter wings. All right guys, so that's it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Definitely hit the picture of a notification bell that'll notify you every time I upload a new video. And I'll see you guys next time.